Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another tutorial of HTML and CSS. This is the fourth tutorial, and congratulations if you've made it this far so far. We've gone over the real basics already, and we'll be getting into more stuff here in a little while. But today we're going to be covering CSS. So the first question is, what is CSS? CSS is just simply another language, and it's pretty much just used to style HTML elements. And so I've showed you a little bit of this in the previous two tutorials, and so I will go ahead and show you how to implement this, the 3 different ways to implement it. I'll teach you about IDs and classes, and also element selectors, and then I'll give some examples. We'll highlight some paragraphs, change the background, and then also change the color. Just do some simple stuff like that so that you can know how to implement CSS. We'll get into the more advanced things later on, but with that said, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first way to implement the CSS is inline or nested, is also what it's known as. We'll open our file, click on our index. Oh, whoops, that's already open. Let's see, we need to open it right here. Okay, so we'll write a paragraph, and I will show you how to do this. This is a paragraph, and then in the paragraph we'll write style. This is an attribute. This means CSS, and so we'll just type color, hit enter, red, then Control S to save. We'll come back here, refresh. As you can see, it's a red paragraph. We could change this to blue. Whoops, not our blue, just blue. Come back here, refresh it, it's blue now. You could also set another property, and we'll go over the CSS properties later on. I'm just showing you some basic ones right now. So we could change background color to green, say, save that, go back in here, and as you can see, that's really ugly, by the way. So that is how you use inline CSS. Okay, so the next way you use CSS is internally, and that is the little head. It's in between the head tags. You put the style tag. Okay, so let's take a look at this. What you'll need is the style tag, so just type style, hit enter. If this stuff isn't already here, go ahead and type it in, and then we're back to our paragraph. And so I'm going to have to introduce you to IDs. And we'll also go over classes here in just a little bit, but type ID, hit enter, and in between the quotes, you put whatever name you want to name this ID. I'm going to just call this parg-1. You can do it with or without the dash, but just don't do any spaces because it'll think it's another class. So just do it like that, and then to call that ID, you need a hashtag, and then whatever the ID is called, I'll just copy and paste this. Oops, paste that there, and then open and closing curly brackets, space that out a little bit, and then whatever CSS property you're going to use right here. So I could say background color yellow, and then click Control S to save it, refresh it. As you can see, the background color is yellow. And then, we could do something like font size, to view widths, save. As you can see, it's smaller. You can also do font size in pixels. I use view widths because it's responsive. I could say 10 pixels, Control S. And as you can see, you can change the font size. You can do a lot of different background properties. This is a cleaner way to implement this rather than nesting it in here. Usually, if you're going to nest it, it's for something minor, just a few properties. If you're going to do much more, I usually start out like a new web page like this, or if I'm just throwing something up real quick. And so that is it for the internal. Okay, this is the third and final way to implement CSS, and this one is called external. And by the way, if you're liking this content so far, go ahead and smash that like button. Leave me a comment with a question or whatever you have. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe and enable that bell notification icon. Anyways, So let's get rid of this stuff, and I'm going to show you how you can implement the external style sheet. So to start, we need an attribute in the head called link, and then we need an attribute called relationship. We'll just hit enter. And then we also need another one, or another attribute called type, and then another attribute called href. We already know what href is, so in the relationship, we will type style sheet, and in the type, we'll type text/CSS, and then href, we're just going to say style.css. And by the way, when you're making a style sheet, make sure that you put this extension on whatever you're naming the style sheet. I'm just naming it style.css. Most people do for something simple. You could name it whatever you want. .css, you just make sure that you include the .css. Now we have to create the file. So we go to File, New File, and then Control S to save. I'm going to navigate to the desktop where we had our website folder. We're going to get into that folder, and we're going to call this file style.css and hit enter. And let me show you. So as you can see, there's a style sheet in the website folder now. It's in the same directory as the index. So we're going to go back here into Sublime, and now we have linked our HTML document to our CSS document. So all of our CSS styling now goes into this document all on its own, and it's linked to our HTML document. So let's go ahead and I will give you an example. This one's going to be a little more complex. We're going to use IDs and classes in this one. So I'm going to make 3 paragraphs, and in the first paragraph I will say the trash can is mighty, and then the second paragraph we will say the cat jumped over the moon, and in the third paragraph we will say the fan scared the cat, and the scared was on purpose. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to color all of the paragraphs, let's say orange. So I need to give a class, because since we're going to color all of the paragraphs orange, and classes can be used for multiple element, or you can attach a class to like groups of elements rather than an ID. An ID is only good for one element. Classes are good for multiple elements. So if you're wanting to style multiple elements, you need classes. If you're wanting to style one element, IDs. So just remember that. We're going to use classes and IDs. So the class name is going to be the same on all 3 paragraphs because we're turning all 3 of them orange. And we're just going to say parg class. And I'm going to do that for all of them. Hit enter. Parg class. And so as you can see, they're all named the same. Now we're going to call that class. We're going to color the text. Let's see, we copied it. We're going to color the text of all these paragraphs orange. So I'm going to come over to the style sheet, and to call the, to call the ID, we did the pound or hashtag. To call the class, we do a period, and then we'll paste in our class, and then open and closing curly brackets exactly like the ID. The only difference is this. And then we will say color orange. And as you can see, it highlights to let you know that it is correct. And then I'm going to Control S to save on this document. Then I'm going to Control S to save on this document. And we will go back to our folder. We'll click on index. And as you can see, all 3 paragraphs are the color orange. Now, I want to make the background color, let's say red on the middle paragraph. The cat jumped over the moon, because we want to add emphasis to this paragraph. So what we can do is we can add an ID yes, you can add IDs and classes to the same HTML element. So we'll add an ID and we will call this parg2 because it's the second paragraph, right? And you know, if you want to do something different on the first and the third paragraphs, you could put parg1 on here and parg3 on here, but we're just going to do this for now. We're going to keep it simple, that way I don't confuse you. And so as you've seen, we copied this ID, and we're going to go below here. You can go above or below, it doesn't matter. We're going to do the hashtag and then Control V to paste that ID name, space that out, and then background color red, or Control S on this document, Control S on this document to save both of them. And whoops, I opened the wrong thing. And we're going to refresh, and as you can see, it highlighted the text red. So that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Now, so that is how you implement the external style sheets. Now, in the future tutorials, we'll be going over a lot more CSS properties. There's all kinds of different things you can do with CSS. We'll build, you know, like forms, and we'll style like pictures, and pretty soon we're going to be building our own little website, probably like a landing page. So I'll be showing you how to do something simple that looks pretty cool. I'll make sure it looks good because most of these tutorials on YouTube, they just don't look that good on a lot of the things they show you. So I'll make sure to, you know, show you how to make something that looks good. I almost forgot to show you, but there is one more way you can implement CSS or target elements in CSS, and that is the CSS element selector. And what that is instead of using classes or IDs, we'll just go ahead and delete the class and IDs on these paragraphs. And I'll show you a way you can target the paragraph tag itself or any other tag in HTML. And so the way you do that is you go into your CSS style sheet, and we'll delete that. And as you can see, we're using a paragraph right here, right? So now this method will target all of the paragraphs. And so all I have to do is go into my style sheet and type P, and that's short for paragraph, and then open and closing curly brackets. And let's say we want to color all paragraphs in the document. And just remember, this will style all of the paragraphs, or, you know, like if you do spans, it'll style all the spans, or if you do all H1 tags, it'll do all of them in the whole document. So be careful with this. And so we're going to do the paragraph on this tutorial. And so I'm going to just set the color to blue. So we're going to change the text color to blue. I'm going to save on both of these documents, come back to my ordeal here and refresh. And as you can see, it targeted all the paragraph tags. So that is the CSS element selector. Oh, hey, and by the way, I know, like, for a lot of people, there's a high probability that you might forget some of the syntax that I've typed out in this tutorial, and you'll be like, hey, I forgot that. And so, like, the link thing, I always have trouble remembering it. So, like, one place you can go is in the description. I will have a link to this same tutorial in article format on my website, so you can visit that, or you can just head over to kyleshowto.com right here, and you can find all my latest videos right here on the left side, and also the tutorial articles. Or you can go to here, and this is my whole series on HTML and CSS. It is a work in progress. I don't have a whole lot up here right now. But anyways, in fact, I don't even have this one linked yet. So, but I will have the correct link in the tutorial, and this is the tutorial for it. And so you can come here, and it tells you all the different ways with the syntax, and also some examples, some code examples, and then like that little link thing, it's down here somewhere. Yeah, right there. And so you can come to this website for a reference. I'll have all this stuff, and in the future I'll have, you know, a full reference of HTML elements and like what they do, and many more tutorials. Well, anyways, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below or above or to the side or wherever it may be. It's always somewhere different. And also enable those notifications. That way when I come out with the next tutorial, you will get that notification and you will know right off the bat. And if you like this video, please smash, and I mean smash, that like button with a hammer, 12-pound sledgehammer. And as always, thanks for watching.